keep pace. Can MarineLorD use the Chinese to bring one of the Spanish bros to his knees and get to that match point quickly?
We've got ourselves an incredible lineup of civilizations. Two of the best civs at the moment. Definitely the English you'd be calling S tier as a civilization. I think Chinese probably A tier. Obviously a lot of good civs at the moment, a lot of viable options that you've got. But definitely these two are the creme de la creme of civilizations for this map especially. So we do have our docks beginning to go down. Of course, LucifroN going to be throwing down his first one. And MarineLorD going to be doing the same, picking up plenty of sheep here.
Yep, maybe that comes in handy. Usually they just sit at home, right? This is the map that sheeps love to live on because they know they're probably going to get to exist until the end of the game, unless someone's reluctant to give up when they've lost water entirely. And it's interesting to kind of watch what's going to be happening on that water side because typically the Chinese player will pull one villager. Most of the other civs are willing to pull two villagers, especially on these Holy Island starts where you can afford the extra idle time because it's a smaller percentage of your overall economy compared to a 6-player start where you take 2 villages, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, pulling the 2 vills is definitely the right call here, but as the Chinese, you build everything faster, so you don't have to worry as much about it. So, I think my question for you is, how much land are we actually going to see in this fight? How much is it going to be orientated towards the water instead? Do you think it's going to be almost 100% of a water fight? Do you think there's going to be a couple of longbows here and there?
I think there's going to be a couple men-at-arms here and there. I wouldn't even be surprised if LucifroN's already dropping a Rax. And there you go. It's already just been queued up. So men-at-arms on the way. Makes a lot of sense because usually when you get this spawn, this is kind of a nuisance for the Chinese player because the wood line is usually just far enough back that men-at-arms can run into that wood line and not get shot in the face by a hand cannon.
Yeah, this is part of... I like this wood line a fair bit, especially with the villager start that you've got here. One of the interesting things that we don't really see players doing is walling in their villages. I'd really like to see this a lot more, where players, instead of walling along the edges, they would just cut themselves a nice little hole and then wall inside that. We could take a look at MarineLorD's base and have a look exactly what he's gotten, the defensive options he's going to have. But I suspect a couple of palisade walls on either side of his forests are going to make a fair bit of sense here. Yeah, you can see that. I guess the hardest spot he's going to have is this gold, though. This gold nowhere near protection range, that is for sure.
No, to your point, I really like the idea of like the hands-up approach to palisades, right? You stick one out of each side of where your wood is, and then later on, you fully embed it. And the later on is when you're worried your opponent might have like 6 or 7 men-at-arms. Because at that stage, if I've got enough extra eco to afford those men-at-arms while fighting on the Navy side, I'm probably just going to dive past the TC anyway, right? So those tiny walls are not going to stop me.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Yeah, the embedded approach. I think that's the best way to call it. Yes, embedded. I like that style, but we do see the men-at-arms now coming down onto the second dock of MarineLorD. Not going to be able to do too much. I mean, he's going to just force the villager back, and also see the second men-at-arms here over on the gold. He's just going to be able to trade out villagers for the moment. He will get the age up through. We can see he's at 190 gold at the moment, so he'll be fine with that one. Of course, he's got access to the Imperial Official as well to bring that gold in. But this will harm his presence on land, or on water, rather.
This is really frustrating. Like, 2 men-at-arms, that's enough to maybe even kill villagers before you pull back. He's going to rush the Barbican up, but there should be a lot of idle time here. You have to be careful about the way you commit your villagers onto this, because if you look, you can see MarineLorD, he doesn't have any near the TC, so it's only a hand cannon slit that would attack you. That's hard, but you can kill a few villagers, right?
Interesting decision from MarineLorD, though, but I do like this Barbican. This Barbican kind of solves a lot of the problems that he's got right now. And it means that he doesn't even have to go into walls. Obviously, as you mentioned, there's a bit of idle time here. He's having to put 4 villagers on this Barbican, but realistically, once it gets up, I mean, that's going to solve the men-at-arm problem. There won't be a men-at-arm problem anymore.
Yeah, but there could be a follow-up problem, right? We saw the council hall has been prepped. This is the difference between the HRE English play. The HRE play is more one-dimensional, but it's harder, right? You could expect 4 men-at-arms, 5 men-at-arms at the stage, right? Like, once you get in feudal. But with the council hall approach, I don't need men-at-arms. I can just use longbows and not worry about these hand cannons.
Yeah, really good call. So we start to see an additional dock now going to be coming down for LucifroN and a focus trending towards the water. The first of our naval vessels is in queue. Of course, we've got the junk on the way through. There it is, coming out of the dock.
Always deceptive in its naming, right? Like, I always love that. Like, junks were some of the best for a very long time.
And then you've got war junks.
And
AKA
then,
big junks.
What was the early days? It was Mongol light junks that dominated, right? Because they could drive. But oh god, like these names are lies, right? It's the same with defensive landmarks. There's nothing defensive about them.
Yeah, yeah, defensive building, the town center. Yeah, it's not the center of a town. That's the center of the enemy base. They were the days.
To that point, we actually have the two most obnoxious civs to dive the TCs of, right? Or get in range of them. You've got double arrow fire from the English, you've got hand cannon slits from the Chinese. It might be frustrating, it might be more exhaustive to try and get in on your opponent's eco in this game. For the time being, we are waiting for that first sprint to come out after the delayed tech up. So, harassment done, and idle time forced in the English eco. But MarineLorD's had his fun, and now he needs to go home.
This is a bit interesting, right? LucifroN's just gone for double upgrades straight away. We see Wheelbarrow double broadaxe coming in. MarineLorD's going to respond with his own double broadaxe, or at least he was for the blink of an eye. But LucifroN almost allowing a little bit of idle time here. Look at the micro coming out from him. This is beautiful. He's actually going to get the kill here.
And check that cooldown. Check what's on cooldown there, right? He used the sails. The 40%
the sails.
It's so frustrating. You can't turn around to interrupt it, right? Because if you tacked him once, it would go on cooldown, but you'd still be in range.
It's so impressive that the micro that just came out there. Someone please clip that. Please post it to Reddit. That is just that's beautiful. Watching the way that he got into position with those sails and then able to take them out, microing just on point.
Yesterday, I called LucifroN Poseidon, and I mean it. Like, this guy is the god of water right now. Like, what he done, even at Red Bull Wallow, I remember back then saying, I think it was like him, Puppy Paw, Vortex, they were the most impressive for me when it came to water hybrid maps. And in this tournament so far, I don't think anyone would argue the statement that the most impressive people on the Holy Island, and most water maps, in fact, have been the Spanish bros.
Yeah, yep, definitely. And he's looking solid already in this game. But interestingly, a distinct lack of presence on the water. Feels like there's a bit more of a focus on land here.
Yeah. Is he thinking of forfeiting entirely? Because I feel like, you know, he hasn't been, like, booming that fleet very quickly. Maybe he's a little bit paranoid that there could be a raid on the docks, so he wants to play more defensive. And that's the other thing to consider, right? English have Admiralty. It's going to be very difficult for the Chinese to combat this.
Yeah, I really don't know how you play up against Admiralty. This is such a hard spot as well because, I mean, with the micro here, I think the best thing that MarineLorD could do is look to lean into a potential Song Dynasty play at multiple town centers. We've seen people do this with quite a lot of success before. The other thing to note is he's got plenty of sheep. He can look to have the Imperial official supervising that up. The main threat that you're going to have, though, is just that huge water economy that starts to get going. We've seen people doing trade on the water as well. It starts to get some pretty crazy numbers.
And you have to feel confident that you got probably more sheep than your opponent, because another cool thing, the Chinese, the extra scouting vision. So even on a map that's filled to the brim with sheeps, you're probably like to get the lion's share, right? 60%, 65% of the total. So you definitely have that kind of land eco to float. But right now, he needs to get some defenses in. Lombos are arriving. There's still 1 or 2 men at arms looming around. And the threat is starting to emerge. He's trying to get more docks up, trying to protect that fishing side fleet. But we know LucifroN is now going to kind of press hard in this area, right? Especially when you consider not just the Admiralty, but also the cheaper ships that the English get.
Yeah, there's a lot going for them at the moment. When it comes to the Chinese, I mean, they've got their docks that work faster, but I tell you what, faster docks compared to +1 range, compared to cheaper ships, I know what I'd take every single day of the week. It's going to be that English bonus.
Absolutely. And you know, the cool thing is you have to remember he got the broadaxe earlier. This was another element of him trying to like mitigate that 20% eco bonus the Chinese are going to have on the other side. And I think he's done a good job in that. Now he's put his opponent in a position where MarineLorD has a lot of springles. I'm expecting LucifroN in the next minute and a half to pump 3 to 4 demos to try and go for that one-punch jugular to push his opponent off water.
Yeah, at the same time, MarineLorD does have the closer spawns towards the enemy ship, so it means that he could have the element of surprise there. But yeah, LucifroN definitely with the element of production on his side. That's going to be a keen advantage. Wheelbarrow going to be coming through from MarineLorD. And take a look at this upgrade from LucifroN, about to finish now. He's got the fishing upgrade that he's picking up.
Got to be efficient on the seas. And the cool thing is also he knows that MarineLorD is double dipping, right? The scout, I think he had eyeballs on the stone outcropping, so he understands what MarineLorD's up to here. It means he has less resources to invest in his naval side because now he wants to pad his land with an extra TC.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing, and perhaps LucifroN could look to try and put a... and we actually do see the demos coming through, and you called this exactly. We see 3 demos at the moment out, 4th one on the way through.
and he's going to try to hold the fight hostage, right? Not a hard commitment. The whole idea is the moment you see the archer ships come forward, you pull the demo back, Springles commit. And remember, right now, MarineLorD only has 2 archer ships. He's trying to fix that. He's only going to feel safe when he's up at 4, maybe 5 archer ships. By going for that, you're sacrificing additional Springle production.
Yeah, Springle placement now. Going to be pushing back a couple of these ships, but look at the demos as they begin coming out. Is he just going to focus down the dock?
Yeah, it's the
oh
emplacement.
my lord, I don't think I've seen this before. Immediately just goes for the dock. 1, 2, 3, 4. Venga boys have arrived. But the village is there. The repair comes through, but the Springle ships are going to be able to take it down. Immediately replaces it.
How did the villager not die to that final demo ship? That looks so obnoxiously buggy. We've seen this so many times where demos, like the explosion goes off, and you're like, it's fine, guys. It's all special effects. No real explosion was triggered in this event. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a little bit ludicrous, but now look, take a look at this. We've got additional docks beginning to come down.
Good.
Might need to deal with this villager. He is relentless in his pursuit of greatness on those docks, and we do see a little bit of a counterattack coming through. Villagers going to be getting idled up, at the very least going to be firing upon those horsemen on land. Looks like he does manage to retreat them back towards the town center.
Honestly, like the big thing I want to highlight there is finally someone's doing it, and I'm so happy. MarineLorD, it's the dock spam with the emplacements. I've been waiting so long for this to happen. It's a cool idea, right? Because when you push towards this midpoint in the map, you've got the Sacred Site Islands. You haven't got that width to go around as easily, and it means that you're always going to be hailing fire upon your opponents. It leads to you long-term investing less in defenses on the water, so you can focus attention elsewhere. It's a great play.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you can just slowly and steadily push up the entirety of the map with this. You've got the heals that come with it, and of course you've got the closer reinforcements as well.
Honestly, I've been waiting for what I was calling the Seagate Castle strategy, for the HRE especially, right? Go across the island, use it as a relic there, pick that up, drop another dock there, and you've just created this death zone that's hard to breach. And we saw the price that LucifroN had to pay to breach one dock. He committed 4 demo ships. 4, Drongo. That's over 4 times the price of a dock.
That's now that you mention it, that is a lot. Yeah, 160 resources for a single demo ship. I mean, you get to take it out in one foul swoop, but
yes,
the problem is it's easily replaced. And we see MarineLorD, you know, you knock one down and 2 more pop up. That's exactly what's happened here.
And it's the Chinese, right? So they build it very quickly. There's hardly any downtime. The only upside is obviously they invest in the stone emplacement, but once again, like, you know, the emplacement isn't that expensive, especially when your opponent is throwing 4 demo ships in response.
Yeah, good point. All right, well, Zhukunu going to be coming out. MarineLorD looking to that castle age. Is he going to be going for Imperial Palace, do you think? Or will it be the Astronomical Clock Tower? I mean, he could play into maybe an Imperial Palace with Palace Guards, but it's unlikely coming out from somebody of MarineLorD's caliber.
I like the idea of just having the clock tower, because like one Nesta B stops all this land assault. Like, look at LucifroN's comp. It's all very static, and that's why LucifroN is trying to go in aggro right now on the water side. Demo ship shuffling past. They don't want this target. They want something bigger. One will get in, but great micro back. MarineLorD minimizing casualties, but just so many ships coming in from Lucy. The demo ship push is non-stop.
Yeah, he manages to take out a couple of ships in there, but still MarineLorD holds. That's the key fact here. MarineLorD holds. He's still got that economy going for him. 76 economic units up against 65, so has that slight lead. And of course, he's got that defensive advantage. He's got the cover of the emplacements on those docks.
And you see how LucifroN switched the script. Like, this is different to what we're used to seeing from the Spanish bros. This is usually the coup de grace moment, right? You go in full. Usually at this point, your opponent is up against the edge of the map, so they can't retreat. But because MarineLorD makes this 4 dock play, look at the room he has to retreat with. Demos can't gap close as easily anymore.
Yeah, speaking of demos, we'll head back there as villagers continue going down on the gold. And look at the demo ship numbers starting to build. He's up to 6 demos now. Does he finally decide to go in there? This could be it right now. Here he goes. 3 demos heading in towards the front side. Managed to make a connection on the first of the Hulks. Second one going down. Third one lined up. He hits 2 big ones and continues to chase it down. Look at him go. He's relentless in his chase here.
This counterattack needs to hit, and he knows that. MarineLorD, like, he's taken injury on land, right? That raid into the gold line was decent coming out from LucifroN. The distraction was impactful. But now MarineLorD goes for the maximum impact here. He needs to get in. LucifroN has nowhere to run. He's pinched against the shores. MarineLorD says, have a taste of your own medicine.
Huge demo explosions. The splits coming out at the last second. The demo ship's just chasing down relentlessly. Hit 3 of those Hulks and going to be knocking them into the graveyard. MarineLorD manages to keep his head above water. The question's going to be for how long as he defends against this relentless attack from LucifroN.
MarineLorD off this reset, maybe he could think about doing some land aggro. He had to double down in the end. He couldn't actually go for his castle age. But he has been a little bit of nuisance, right? The villages he lost, he's mirrored that on the other side. However, LucifroN now coming in with a second punch here. The great Chinese migration is underway.
Look how many villagers are moving out. They are moving on to greener pastures, and it's interesting because MarineLorD's actually chopped through the piece of wood line that was protecting him. There was a little bit of a nub that was coming out there that the Barbican was basically best friends with, but obviously not going to be the case anymore. It's long gone.
No, and there's another rough thing about what MarineLorD just done there. Like, if I'm not mistaken, IO didn't go with those villagers, right? So, he's not getting the extra 20% on what feels like half of his land eco right now. On water, though, it's looking good. Like, LucifroN, I feel like we're seeing that time pass where usually they've ended the game by now. It feels like MarineLorD is now the one who can go on the counterattack. Yeah,
I agree with you. I mean, that was a juicy demo ship that went through right there, but it was only a little bit of the army, and we did see that Imperial official dead on the ground at one of those lumber camps. You just know he was going out to get like 2 tacks. He was probably stacked up to the rafters with additional tacks. He was probably 38 out of 40 tacks. Yep. And he's like, I need 2 more tacks. I'm going to go to that lumber camp with 20 units on it.
He's like standing next to the drop-off location for tacks. He's like, I feel like it would be more optimal for me to walk 10 seconds that way, pick up 2 coins, and then walk all the way back. Yeah, I like that.
Not to mention that the lumber camp it's got 150 packs in it. But the reason I don't play the Chinese anymore. Let me just say it.
You lagged out a bit there, Drongo. What was the secret you were telling us? You were saying Chinese can win this game easily by doing what? We'll never know.
we will never know. We will never know.
Hey, man, that's how you're
at this point, MarineLorD's looking solid. Like, for real. He's looking really good.
He really is. Like, LucifroN, the aggression has been tided over, right? Like, I love the way that MarineLorD used that wide angle against his opponent. Like, the procedure to this. Now, 2 games in a row, we've seen how MarineLorD manipulates zonal control really well. Game 1, it was with the Yam outpost. Game 2, it's with that one dock and the emplacements that forces LucifroN into these uncomfortable positions where it's commit everything or commit nothing.
Yeah, really good call. All right, well, slowly and steadily, he looks to commit on water. MarineLorD, still no sign of a castle age through, by the way. He looked like he was going for it.
He might now.
And then he backed down.
I mean, he's at a point where if you look away for a second, he will do it. But instead, are you seeing what he's doing here? That's a lot of horsemen.
7 horsemen? That's a huge amount of horsemen. And interesting against the English going horsemen. I feel like it's not dangerous, but it just feels kind of pointless, right? Like, longbows have got that extra point of damage, an extra bit of range. Not to mention the palings. It's like, it just doesn't feel the best, but
okay,
hey, who am I to argue with the best?
Hear me out. Like, when they take a break from this fight, let's have a look at LucifroN's wood line, and then it completely makes sense why you want this many horsemen. Like, they're off in fairyland. There's no protection in the English base. They've gotten so deep at this point.
Wow. Yeah, you're not wrong. Look at the lumber camps stacked up. Oh my, he's got more lumber camps than he's got any other building. He's got more lumber camps than he's got houses.
At what point have you just built more lumber camps than you've chopped trees, right? This is kind of insane. It's a lumberjack's fantasy.
It really is. That is something that I've been dreaming about for a long time.
And by the way, you look like I just keep keeping an eye on this archer ship count from MarineLorD. It's kind of funny that I still remember the game that he felt the wrath of magic against mass archer ships. It's funny how he's found a way to kind of indoctrinate that into his strategy here. Because at this stage, LucifroN's mass is so big that mass archer ships do kind of work.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the theory, right? Like, you've got to get up, or you've got to have enough hulks to protect, or enough springled ships to protect your archer ships, and then that's when you can go for the mass archer ships. But we do see Astronomical Clock Tower going to be thrown down for MarineLorD in the back of the base, nice and safe. There is the potential for the bees to be coming online.
Potential for MarineLorD to find himself already on match point. Uncomfortable for LucifroN, the reigning champion from round 1, but you can't help but feel this water side. He's not finding a way in still. There's like one big punch with demo ships, and if it doesn't work, when he sees that tech up, I wouldn't be surprised if that's it.
Yeah. I mean, he could look for an all-in on the water, but there's so many ships here for MarineLorD. He's going to look to try and hold this position. The demo ship comes through. Look at him go as he slices through. Manages to hit the front. Oh, look at the demo response from his opponent. It's absolutely massive from... It's massive from... It's massive from LucifroN.
It's not as massive as he wanted, though. When he sees that tech up, like, MarineLorD still has enough to defend with, right? And he's postured better in these fights. The crazy part about this is, remember, LucifroN has Admiralty, yet MarineLorD is still consistently keeping him at bay.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, the Admiralty is... yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? But take a look at this. We've got Veterancy coming through the Horseman. A little bit of a raid on that north side. He's already up 14 villagers. MarineLorD going to be looking to squeeze out a couple more villager kills. At the same time, he's getting a counterattack on his own side of the map and looking to just go even Stevens here on the water. We see that extra armor going to be coming in, the extra health. And look at this raid. This is not going to be good for LucifroN. He manages to escape with some of these villagers still alive, but he's lost a lot of workers.
Well, this is not an escape. This is get back to work, all right? We don't pay you for your breaks. Oh, no. The Veterancy's coming through in 10 seconds, by the way.
It reminds me a little bit, you know, when you're playing StarCraft and you get all of the workers onto the same resource node? It kind of looked like that. He had all of them go down onto the same tree and stack up. It would have just been the pit. Like, it would have been perfect if he just fired at a single horseman.
Oh man, I honestly I don't know what LucifroN does now, right? Because the upgrades have come in on the sea for MarineLorD. This is a veteran horseman mass of 14, and you're still in feudal age. Like, where is the out for an English player this far behind?
Yeah, I just don't feel like his economy on water just hasn't been growing at the rate that MarineLorD's been able to keep his at. And now we've seen, like, you can see he's only on 560 food a minute. Playing as the English, and it makes it really difficult for him to ever get castle with this. He's going to be losing his mass down here, and for LucifroN, I mean, this just feels terrible, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's everything. Like, the only thing he has left is demo ships that are undefended on their way in, so he waves that white flag. Ladies and gentlemen, MarineLorD looking like he's back, because now, after 2 games, 1 more, and he will be in that grand final. Meanwhile, LucifroN, the reigning champion from round 1, will be on the sidelines.
Well, I'm impressed by what we saw from MarineLorD. As I said, coming into this series, I was expecting big things from the Spanish bros, and it seems like so far, MarineLorD has managed to find a way to wiggle himself in between the two of them. So, looking good so far in this series. He's up 2 games. We head into match point now, and now it's starting to get interesting. I mean, it was kind of interesting on game number 1, but now it's really getting interesting.
Sorry, you're just trying to, like, low-key flame water maps. Is that what I heard there?